into small cubes, and I'm just cooking those, and those are actually about done, so I can turn those off. We're going to use that in our skillet. But in this bowl, I have some all-purpose flour. I have a little bit of salt, a little bit of baking powder, and a little bit of sugar. Now, we are going to be mixing those things together. This is just a quick and easy homemade biscuit that just really truly could not be simpler. Got my oven preheated to 425 degrees. I have a baking sheet that I've lined with parchment paper. In this bowl, in this container, can't think of the word, measuring cup, I have some heavy cream. Now I have about 1.5 cups, but I don't know that I'm going to need all that. I'm going to start with about a cup, because it really does depend on the humidity in your room. I'll show you as we go along if I think I'm going to need any more. If you're using self-rising flour, you will not need the baking powder or the salt. Yeah, I'm going to need a little more. So I'm up to about 1.25 cups. We'll see. Homemade biscuits are just so simple and so good. Okay, looks like a good workable dough. Add just a little more. I've got some flour in the bottom, so I did end up using the whole 1.5 cups. We're going to just get all that flour worked in. And now I'm going to take, let me grab my flour container, a little bit of flour on my board, and I'm going to put this on the board. And I'm actually going to work it just a little bit. Let me put this bowl over here in my sink, get it out of my way. I'm going to work this dough just a little bit, adding any additional flour that I need. You want to knead it, I don't know, 5 or 6 times until it comes into a nice workable dough. You see how that is just very smooth. If you have time and you want to wrap this in plastic wrap and put it in your refrigerator for a little bit, you can. And I forgot to get my rolling pin. Here it is. Let me grab my rolling pin. I'm going to roll this out to about 1/2 inch or so. Need a little more flour. Ooh, better move my coffee. I don't want flour in my coffee, do I? I have to have coffee when I'm making my breakfast. That's the first thing I do in the mornings. I have a lot of coffee, actually. I drink, before I ever leave my house, I probably have, I don't know, 4 cups. Love coffee. I just love it. Now, I have here, this is about, I'd say 2 inches or so. I'm going to dip it in a little bit of flour, and then I'm going to cut out rounds of biscuits, and I'm going to put them on my parchment paper. See, I told you this was easy. I mean, you can whip this together pretty much in the time it takes you to preheat your oven. Place them about 1/2 inch or so apart on your baking sheet. Now, these are sweet cream biscuits, so honestly this would make a great dessert. If you like strawberry shortcakes, which is one of my top 2 favorite desserts to eat, you're going to love this because it's just delicious. Okay, we're going to cut these. And if you don't have a biscuit cutter, you can use a glass, just a glass that you, at the end, just put it in some flour. You could make them square. You could make them any shape you wanted to. Okay. Any scraps, re-roll. Just get them back in a little. Don't waste it. Okay. Get one more biscuit out of this, and I'll show you what to do. I'm gonna have to move my biscuits around. If they touch, it's okay. I think I can get one more. Let's just go for it, see how many we can get. Don't overwork it. I think this will be it. Okay, now, let us get our biscuits a little tiny bit closer together. If they touch as they bake, that's okay, because that just means they'll rise a little bit higher. All righty? It's okay if they do. Now, because these are sweet biscuits, I'm going to take a little bit of, I don't have any demerara sugar or sugar in the raw. I don't have any. If you have that, it's great, but I don't. So I'm going to take a little bit of just regular granulated sugar. Remember, these are sweet biscuits. If you don't want them to be sweet, you know, don't add this step. Maybe brush them with a little bit of milk or beaten egg. But I want them to be a little bit crunchy and caramelized on top, because remember, this is a sweet biscuit with our strawberry gravy. So I'm going to sprinkle the top with just a little bit of regular sugar. If you have the crunchy sugar, the demerara sugar, even better. About 12 minutes or so in a 425-degree oven, or until they are golden brown, cooked through and puffed up real hot. They're really, really good. They make a wonderful, wonderful little dessert for you and your family. I'm going to clean up my mess. When I come back, I'm going to show you how to start the farmer's skillet and the strawberry gravy. I'll be back in just a minute. Alrighty, now our biscuits are in the oven. I drained the cubed potatoes, and I've got a skillet here that I have on medium-high heat. Now I have here about 6 slices of just regular bacon that I'm going to cook in this skillet. I chop mine ahead of time. If you don't want to do that, you want to fry it first and then crumble it, feel free to do that. That's fine too. Okay. While that's cooking, I have 6 eggs, just large eggs. I'm going to add a couple of spoonful or tablespoons of milk. You could use heavy cream, half and half. And I'm just going to beat those up. I'm going to add some salt and some pepper to my eggs. About a 1/4 teaspoon of pepper, about 1/2 teaspoon of salt. As much or as little as you like. Just want to beat those up. This is a very easy breakfast that you can make any day of the week. You could cook your bacon ahead and your potatoes ahead and then pull it out the next morning and have breakfast done in 15 minutes. A good hearty breakfast. I put on an apron because I did not want to get splattered with bacon drippings. That's why I typically cook my bacon in the oven, because I don't like to get grease all over me. It's hard to get grease out of clothes. That's why so many chefs and cooks wear aprons. Keep the clothes from getting all messy. All right, we're just gonna add that up. Now I have here just a couple of tablespoons of very, very finely minced up onion. We want to add some flavor from the onion, but we do not want to have the chunks. All right, while that's browning up, in this pot, let me get it going here. We're going to make the sauce, the syrup for the pancakes. I have here about a cup of, I used fresh blackberries because my store did not have any frozen blackberries. If you can't find frozen, use fresh. If you want to use, or you can't find fresh, use frozen. Either one is fine. And to that, where did it go? I want to add I had it out here just a second ago. Huh, where did I put it? Is the question. Some syrup. Well, my goodness. Can't find my syrup. I had it. I really did. I had a cup. A little measuring cup. Oh, well. Oh, here it is. Okay. I moved it with my stuff. I've just got here about 1/3 of a cup. I'm using pancake syrup because I didn't have any maple syrup. If you have pure maple syrup, use that by all means. My bacon is cooking away, splattering everywhere. Does anything smell better than bacon cooking? I just honestly, bacon and onion together, oh, delicious. Okay, let that get good and crisp. That's what you want. Back to this. Now, I just am going to put just a pinch of salt in that. That is just blackberries and syrup. And I'm going to let that cook gently until those berries break down. And we're going to, kind of smush them a little bit as they go along. Keep an eye on them. You do not want that to burn, but we're going to break down those berries and make a syrup to go over top of our pancakes, or really anything you want to eat. That would be delicious on the biscuits. I just want to give you a couple of different options. Alrighty, our bacon is browning up. I don't have any of this prepared ahead, so we just have to cook it as we go. And I do that intentionally on this show because I want you to see from start to finish how easy it really is to cook. One of the goals of this program is to get you in the kitchen. And lately I know we've all been cooking a lot more than what we used to. But this isn't easy. This would make a wonderful breakfast, but it also would make a great little brunch or even breakfast for dinner. Oftentimes we just like to have breakfast. It's one of those things, if I can't think of anything to cook for dinner, breakfast 100% of the time will fit the bill. Have some of my coffee because it is breakfast. Alrighty, we're letting that bacon cook. Oop, got some out. Back in there, you. My potatoes are drained. I just cooked them till they were about 90% done. I want you to see I just cubed them into these little pieces, just these little itty bitty little pieces. I'd say about 3/4 of an inch or so diced. If you don't have fresh potatoes, you could use the frozen cubed hash browns. They would work great. All right, now, this is, turn that down just a little bit. I'm going to remove the bacon, drain it on some paper towels, but I want to leave the drippings in the skillet because we're going to cook our onion in that. This is very quick. Once you have the components done, it just goes real fast. Okay. We'll let that just drain. Then I'm going to add my onion, just a couple of tablespoons of finely minced up onion. It just adds a wonderful flavor to that. Just straight in those drippings. Don't let that go to waste. After about, 30 seconds or so, because you see how fine those are, they're going to cook very quickly because that fat is very hot. I'm going to add my drained potatoes. Stand back when you do this in case there's any moisture on those potatoes. What I want to do is kind of brown those up. So I'm going to coat them in the oil, the fat from the bacon, and it's perfectly fine if they break apart. That's really kind of what you want. And I'm going to they're cooked, but I want to let them get crispy in that bacon fat. Let's check on our syrup. It's looking good. Ooh, smelling even better. Turn it up just a little bit. Okay, while that's crisping, let me put this in the dishwasher. Let's check on our biscuits. See if they're ready to go. All right, let's check them out. No, they need about, I'd say 3 or 4 more minutes because they're not golden on top, but they're rising beautifully. Okay, I am just going to clean this up, let this brown. When I come back, we will wrap up the farmer's skillet, then we will get started on the gravy, and the strawberry gravy and the pancakes. I'll be back in just a minute. Alrighty, now our potatoes, as you can see, have browned a little bit, exactly what we wanted. We want to add our eggs to that mixture. We're going to stir those up. We're cooking the eggs. Got a lot going on here. The biscuits just came out of the oven. I sneaked a bite. They're really good. Oh, so good. Stir until you get those eggs fully incorporated. All right. And done to your likeness. I have in this skillet about 2½ cups or so of milk that I'm bringing up to a little bit of a simmer. Be careful with that. You don't want to scald it. All right. That looks good. Going to sprinkle in the bacon because, I mean, you have to, right? You got to have bacon in this. You could use turkey bacon if you wanted. You would have to add a little butter or fat to it. And the last step is about ½ cup of shredded cheddar cheese. And stir that in. And that, my friends, is done. We just need to set that to the side. Let that cheese melt a little bit. Let me grab a little hot pad for it, get it off my stove, so I can do the rest of the breakfast here. We'll serve that up in just a second. Very hot. That's done. Now, I have here a pan, a flat griddle with a piece of cheese on it that I don't want on there. Let me grab that. Wipe up this cheese before it melts on there. I'm going to turn this on. In my case, about number 7 to make the pancakes. That's coming up to a simmer, so let's get this going first. All right, now in this, I have some just instant cream of wheat, the dried cereal that you buy in the grocery store beside the oatmeal, just cream of wheat. I'm going to whisk that in to my milk while I whisk the blueberry syrup together. Okay, I'm going to let that come up to a simmer. That's going to thicken. Turn that down just a little bit. I don't want that to burn. I'm going to let that come up to a simmer. I'm also going to add just a pinch of salt, about, I don't know, maybe 1/4 teaspoon or so of salt, and some sugar, about 1/3 cup or so of sugar. Whisk that together. Keep some extra milk by you in case you need to thin that out, which I don't think I do. Let me turn that where I can hold it. Okay, that's just coming up nicely. Now, I have here some frozen strawberries that I have chopped. I'm just going to stir those in. I used frozen, but if you don't have frozen, fresh is perfectly fine. Okay, I'm going to stir that in. I'm going to turn that down to low, and I'm going to let that simmer. That's our gravy for our biscuits. Oh, smell that. Those strawberries are going to break down even more. Turn that down to simmer, that down to simmer. Get your pan on your stove, and let's make some pancakes. I have in this bowl some all-purpose flour, some pumpkin pie seasoning, some cinnamon, some salt, and some baking powder. Whisking that together, I have here 1 1/3 cups of milk and 1 egg that I'm going to beat into my milk. And I'm going to put that in the pancake mix. Stir that together just a little bit. And I have 1 apple unpeeled. You can peel it if you want, but I really like the texture that the peeling adds. If you have a box grater, you can use a box grater. I'm just going to use this handheld grater, and you're actually going to grate that apple over your bowl because you want those juices. I'm going to grate my apple into my pancake. Alrighty, now all I did was grate that apple in there and stir all that together. I've got my griddle nice and hot. You could use the big pancake griddle if you've got one. All right, then you want to put in, you can make them any size you like. Just make sure they're all the same size. So I'm going to do just my little spoon. I'll do 3. All right, let them go. And let's serve up our biscuits. Now here are the little little cream biscuits that we made. And I need another, I'll just use this. And here's our delicious strawberry gravy that we made. You can thin it out if you want to. It's about the right texture that I like, but if you want it thinner, you can. And just spoon some of that over top of your homemade biscuits. And then I have a couple of pretty little fresh strawberries that I had. I'm going to make a pretty little fan. I washed them. Just cut down some slices and then just press them and make a pretty little fan on top of that so that everybody knows what's in there, that those are strawberries, that's strawberry flavored. And there you go. You could serve that with some additional powdered sugar if you wanted to or not. Here is our farmer's skillet, our blackberry jam, sauce, syrup, whatever you want to call it. I'm taking my little whisk here. Turn that up just a little bit. And I am actually kind of crushing those berries a little tiny bit as I go. You can see it just kind of breaks those down. That would be delicious over top of some ice cream. Oh, yes. Any day of the week. All right, come on, little pancakes. We're just waiting on them to get done. This is one of those recipes that you can do you know, very quickly. Of course, you could just make the farmer's skillet and the biscuits, or the pancakes, and, you know, I just want to show you some different options. All right, now all I did was let them get brown on one side and then turned them over. And I'm going to plate them with just a pat of butter, a little bit on each one, because I think each pancake needs butter. I mean, it's really simple, really simple. If you have boxed pancake mix and you wanted to make it out of that, you could just add some of the pumpkin pie spice and the cinnamon and a grated apple. There you go. And there is our delicious pancakes, and we cannot forget our syrup. So here is our homemade blackberry syrup. If you want to run this through a sieve to get the seeds and stuff out, go for it, but me, no. I want that on there. So there is some homemade blackberry syrup. I do happen to have a few little extra blackberries, so if you want to throw those on there, go right ahead. These are delicious. So you can show, again, what's on there. You could also sprinkle it with a little tiny bit of powdered sugar if you wanted to. So there are 3 very, very easy breakfast items that you could make any day of the week. We've got our farmer's skillet, our delicious apple pancakes, and our homemade cream biscuits with the strawberry gravy. Thank you for joining with me, and I will see you